You might be asking yourself, what's GlovedUp Garage all about? Well, junk and gloves. One of the things I wanted to do here at GlovedUp Garage was do kind of my own way of a review. I'm not going to review this box. You can look all over YouTube. You can find reviews on it. I'm just going to show you what I keep in my box. There's a website called Garage Journal. There's a pretty long post on there, different guys posting up what do they keep in their box. So that's more of what this video is going to be, more than a review. Eventually I might get into doing some reviews on some of the things that I use. It kind of depends upon you guys. If there's something that I use, you want to see me do a review on it, by all means, post it in the comments and let me know. This is just what I keep in this box. You can see the top of this box is absolutely packed full of stuff, and we'll go more into depth of that later. My box is my box. I'm OCD about my tools. I like everything to be put in their place, and we'll get into that later. All right, so my top drawer, you can see I've got a mixture of different screwdrivers and stuff in there. Yeah, I do prefer a lot of snap-on screwdrivers. I went through Craftsman a lot when I was younger, when I was first getting into this. In fact, I mean, I've still got a couple of older Craftsman screwdrivers in there. Blue Point, because cheaper than Snap-on, and then just a random mix of stuff. This has saved my butt more than I can count. This is actually a Milwaukee 90-degree adapter. I purchased it at Home Depot many years ago when I started working on Fox bodies, because I couldn't get a lot of the screws in the dash out. Or on the Fox body where the gauge cluster goes, there's two screws at the top that hold the gauge cluster into place. Those are really hard to get to. But this thing works out really good. In fact, let me show you. What we got here, random run-of-the-mill Fox body gauge cluster. Absolute pain in the butt to get out if you've never had one out before. Mainly because the headlight switches pop in from the, or pop out from the inside. So you have to release a couple of tabs in there. But the big thing that hangs up a lot of people is that screw there and that screw there. And the reason being, it's very difficult to get a screwdriver in there. There's just not enough room. So what I did is I found that this Milwaukee 90-degree adapter with the T20 bit on it fits in there perfect on both sides. You've got plenty of room to work. And in fact, you can even use a drill or just a driver to loosen those out and get that out. So that part about me not liking to pile tools in the drawers, well, that doesn't apply to this drawer. This drawer is my upholstery tool, pliers, electrical tools. I've got a mixture of different things in here. I got snap ring pliers, some wire strippers. I actually use different kinds of wire strippers depending on the job that I'm doing. If I'm putting like a butt connector, if I'm going to solder two wires together, I prefer these Blue Point. If we're going to splice a wire, put another wire onto another wire, I prefer these because you can actually strip the insulation on the wire that you want the new wire to go into. And then if I'm doing some work on some smaller wires, I prefer these right here. Snap ring pliers, channel lock. I'm not a huge fan of the channel lock. It's just, I have them, they work. You can change out the ends when you wear them out. Everybody has a Toolbox, has one of these. This is my junk drawer. Hopefully that doesn't get me demonetized because yes, there's a magazine for a Glock 17 in there. This also has some of my diagnostic tools, some owner's manuals, obviously an old LED flashlight, mag light. I've got a couple old ones, some markers, just random stuff. These are the old books for the OBD1 scanners, which I don't need anymore because I have recently purchased an NGS star tester from Ford. So as soon as I learn how to use that bad boy, those things will go in the garbage. All right, so top right drawer. Keep in mind, I'm not preparing these drawers before I start this video. I'm literally stopping the scene, moving to the next drawer, opening the drawer. That's why there's like wrenches all over the place. This is my standard wrench drawer, my nut driver drawer, the old school ignition wrench drawer, which I find useful on header bolts and things like that. Top drawer, I keep my air blowers handy so that I can blow the dust and stuff off when I'm crawling around on the floor because I don't have a lift. Yes, the OCD is happy with this one. So this is my metric wrench drawer. I've got the crow's feet back here in the back. I've got, these are Blue Point ratcheting wrenches, gear wrench, old school Craftsman, which I use all the time, line wrenches back there. This is the power tool drawer, which has more than just power tools in it. Got one of those awesome cobalt lights from Lowe's. This is my digital snap-on torque and angle wrench, 7.4 driver, DeWalt impact, snap-on impact, DeWalt drill, old school flashlight, some old Craftsman torque wrenches. These are my new acquired tools from Milwaukee. I started off with the 3/8 and 1/4 inch ratchet combo. Got this for Christmas, I believe, and then I bought these two on sale at Home Depot. I've also got a Dremel over here, but once I bought this Milwaukee cutoff tool, I rarely even use a Dremel because these all take the same batteries as my 1/4 inch and 3/8 electric ratchet. So I also keep my bits and things like that in here, some of the stuff that I need quick when I'm using the drivers because it just makes sense to me. So this is my socket drawer because I keep all my sockets in it. I prefer to keep my sockets all organized into, standard or metric. So I keep all my metric stuff over here and also have like my metric Allen keys, stuff that has no designations in the middle, like reverse Torx, just your basic Phillips, flathead, blah, blah. Over here is all my standard. I've got some deep wells, some swivels, 1/4 inch, all this stuff. I prefer the things to be the smaller drive in the front, like 1/4 inch, go to 3/8, some other 3/8, like 12 points, and then go back to my 1/2 inch drive, which I don't do a whole lot of heavy stuff. So the 1/2 inch that I have here works out great for me. I think my largest socket's like 1 1/8 or something, 1 1/4. So, and that's something that rarely gets used for me. So, also you can see that I've got 2 electric ratchets up here. Now, I bought the Snap-on first, and I was really happy with it. I was working in a body shop, and I needed a basic set of tools there. So then I purchased the Milwaukee electric ratchet first. I think I paid like $149 for it, charger, battery, and also came with the adapter. Because at first I didn't realize that I thought I was just buying a 1/4 inch ratchet. If you take that adapter off, you've got 3/8. So at a body shop with limited amount of tools, because I didn't really need much, I wasn't actually a tech, I was an estimator. All I would use it for is to take a bumper off, to take a fender loose, to take an engine cover or anything like that, so I could see inside to get a better estimate. So I didn't really need a whole lot of tools. If I had to do this all over again, if you're watching this channel and you're thinking to yourself, man, I really want an electric ratchet, which one should I buy? The Milwaukee, hands down, is a better deal. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with a Snap-on. If you're a guy that works at a shop, you have access to a Snap-on dealer all the time, Snap-on's great. It's great stuff. For the everyday guy that does not have access to a dealer, that may not work in a shop, that you're doing stuff around the house, the Milwaukee's a better deal. You can buy, at the time, almost 2 of these for what one of those cost. I think I paid like $250 for this with 2 batteries and a charger. This, like I said, was $150, 2 batteries and a charger. The plus side, like you could see in the other drawer, is that battery will fit multiple tools. So if you're working on a project that only requires you to use 1 battery at a time, you've got a spare on a charger. So you could swap it from this to a drill, to a driver, to a flashlight, to a cutoff, etc. They make soldering irons. They make all kinds of stuff. My collection of Milwaukee tools is going to expand far broader than this Snap-on series will. I'm pretty much done. I'm going to use this for what I can until these batteries wear out, and then I'll move on. By then, I'm sure Milwaukee will have some other design, and I'll have to have it because I like tools. All right, so moving on to the top left drawer of the bottom section of the toolbox. This is where I keep my special use tools. Things that don't get used all the time, they generally only have one use for them. For instance, these are the tools to change out tires on like lawnmowers and small four-wheelers, stuff like that. We got a rod lawnmower. My kids have four-wheelers. These come in very handy when they wear their tires out and Dad has to change them. This is a Snap-on, a spring hose clamp tool. Works very handy instead of using a pair of pliers to change those god-awful spring hose clamps. Just got some other stuff like a tool to hold the flywheel, pipe cutter for doing brake lines or any kind of fittings like that. These are for AC lines. I work on a lot of Fords, so the AC lines and the fuel lines all take those clamps like that. I've got some tools in here to remove windshields because I did do some restorations that required windows to come out. Old school coolant tester and some random stuff for specific tools for Mustangs are in here. That particular tool right there is made by Maxim Motorsports to help you get the spring to seat in the lower control arm on the front of a 79 to 04 Mustang. which, as you'll see, is my specialty. So this is the next drawer down, second drawer on the bottom section of my toolbox. This is what I call my electrical drawer. I've got two different kinds of multimeters in here, digital multimeter. I've got an old school test light, a couple of tools and crimpers and stuff like that for changing terminals. I do keep a thermostat in here because every once in a while I'll do some AC work and I've got to measure the temperature on it. And then you can see I've got the adapter in here for this torch to use as a soldering iron, which will be phased out because I plan to purchase one of the Milwaukee soldering irons that uses the same M12 battery as the rest of my tools. All right, so third drawer down, this is my drill bit drawer, which is, well, it's kind of organized. This is just a box from Harbor Freight. I've actually replaced every bit in there with newer, better bits, old school DeWalt bits and all the bits that I use. And yeah, I mean, it's a drill bit drawer and it's just kind of thrown into place, but yeah, it's halfway organized, so 5 points. So this is my air tool drawer. Just in the past 4 or 5 years, I've gotten what I would call a big boy compressor. It's an 80-gallon, 2-stage Husky. And before that, I only had like roll-around compressors. The largest one I had was, I think it was 26 gallons or something. It was a huge compressor, but it never really pushed an air tool to its capacity. So now that I have a big boy compressor, I can use all the big boy air tools. But up to that point, I'd always bought electric. That's why I have a lot of electric impacts and electric ratchets and stuff like that. But so I do have a little mixture of air tools. Drill. I've got a couple of DAs. I use these quite frequently. Die grinder, angle grinder, and an impact. Down in there, and you can see the accessories for it. I've got a snap-on vacuum that's run off of air pressure. As goofy as that sounds, but the bag for it's shot, so it just stays in there. I haven't used it in years. All right, top right drawer. This is where I keep my random stuff like pry bars. I keep my longer reach upholstery tools, vice grips, tin snips, all that kind of stuff. Clamps and C-clamps and all that stuff stays in this drawer. This is kind of my oh crap drawer. This is where I keep my tap and die set. I keep my tap sockets. The stuff that I get in here normally just, measuring tape and utility knife and pair of scissors, stuff like that. But there's some extractors in here. There's some taps over here that are specific for metric threads on Mustangs. This is a nut splitter that I used on a 98 Cobra H-pipe. The nut that holds the H-pipe to the exhaust manifold on the right side, on the passenger side of the vehicle. One of those nuts seized on me one time, and that was a whole lot of fun getting that out of there. I split the nut, and then I was able to use a Dremel tool with a cutoff wheel to get in there and get the rest of it off, and then chase the threads on the manifold when I was done. But so yeah, this is the oh crap drawer. This is the hammer drawer. I've got a couple of hammers that are laying out on the floor right now. So yeah, this one's not organized at the moment. Old school Harbor Freight body hammer set. Just a couple of random Harbor Freight hammers, ball peen. Claw hammers. Dead blows are out on the floor. I got a 2.5 pound sledge that sits back here. All of my punches, chisels, ball joint tool separator, and then I've got a number and letter punch back here. But yeah, that's my hammer. Onto the bottom right drawer. This is where the fun is. So I've got a mixture of things that I use this drawer for. Obviously, they're all in cases for the most part, except for like the piston ring compressors that are chilling. Harmonic tools laying over on the floor. I keep the case in here. Another harmonic balancer puller. Another piston ring compressor. And of course, timing light. And if you're not from this generation, you probably have no idea how this works. But this is for doing timing on cars with distributors instead of distributorless ignition. So in here, I've got like a serpentine belt tool. This is I love this thing. That's a power probe. And what that does is allows you to hook up to the battery and creates its own circuit outside of the car so that you can apply voltage or ground to a circuit for testing purposes. I did a street rod harness in a 1968 Cougar, and this thing was the most handy device that I'd ever used in my life. And while I was doing that, I borrowed the tool from the owner, gave it back to him when I was done. Immediately after he paid me, I went out and bought one of these because it saved me so much time, and it was amazing. And there's a ton of things you can do with this. I'm just scratching the surface. I know they have some newer versions out that do a lot more in-depth testing on circuits. I don't use it to its capacity, but I love the thing for what it is. I've got a bunch of different things in here. I've got compression testers. This is my ball joint tool set, tools for pulling steering wheels and stuff like that. But this is kind of a catch-all. If it fits in a case, it fits in this drawer. One of the features this box has, a lot of boxes these days have these USB plugs in here. There's 2 of them on this side, 2 on the other side. 4 plugs, receptacles for your chargers. The back panel here is actually magnetic, so you can stick sockets or whatever you want up there. Same thing down here on this end. Like I said, there's 2 USBs over here on the charger. If you can see that, there we go. 2 USBs, 4 receptacles for chargers. The top of this box is a mess. This top will get organized very soon. We will be moving from this location towards the end of the summer. We're currently looking for a new house, looking for some property, looking for a place to relocate the GlovedUp Garage. We've been in this garage for 10 years. This garage holds a lot of good memories. My kids were very little when this was built. They rolled around in here on the slab just days after it was poured in their little cozy coupe cars. So this place has had a lot of activity over the last 10 years. We have outgrown this garage, so it's time to start looking for another one. There's the rest of the tools that didn't make the cut. These guys were laying over here from where I had taken a 5.0 engine apart, take it up to the machine shop and have them get it cleaned up. So I've got the old harmonic balancer, E7 heads, cam, and all that stuff. It's not going to get reused. We'll use some of those stuff over on the new engine once it's back and cleaned up and ready to go. These tools, I'm going to go put them away, get them all cleaned up, back in their proper place. Guys, you know what to do. If you like the video, give us a like. Give us a subscribe as we add more videos so you can be notified. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications that, hey, we've uploaded a new video. Thanks for checking out GlovedUp Garage. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.